Hey, what's up, everybody? Sean here, and this is another weekly fitness update for my personal fitness journey. We're at week 4, which means we're at 1 month down. So, before I get started here, I wanted to point out that as part of the 1 month recap, I'm actually going to do a live stream. I'm going to try that out, see how that goes, provide an opportunity for everybody to come in and ask questions if they have any questions or concerns about my journey versus me working on something semi-scripted, doing it a little bit more off the cuff for people to just ask about the process overall. So with that, we'll get into this one, which is our basic weekly recap, and we'll get started. All right. So I had a little bit of a downturn at the beginning of the week. If you recall from my previous video, at the end of week 3, I was really getting kind of sick. I had a lot of congestion, a lot of coughing, hard to breathe, and that really impacted me on day 1 of this week. So I did my usual mile-and-a-half run, and about halfway through it, I got into this coughing fit, had to stop, barely could breathe, coughed for about 2 minutes straight, walked a little bit, and then from that point, I started up the tractor again. And even so, taking out that about 3.5 minute point in there where I was coughing and didn't do it, I was still slower. So probably would have been closer to 20 minutes if I included the stop. And it basically took me back to where I started almost in week 1. Not very happy with that, but it is what it is. It's not always going to be up and up with all of these exercises on a week to week basis. It's just part of the way it is, especially when you have a cold. It was a fasting day as well, so really didn't have any food, but tried to make sure I drank a lot of water. I drank some green tea. I had some lemon water, some salted water for some electrolytes. Try to get that cold out of my body. Day 2, I was feeling a little bit better. It was a strength training day. So with that one, we got into the hammer curls, the pull downs, the crossbody curls, the leg press, the upright row, weighted lunges. So you can see all the ones here. So all the green is indicating that I actually made a little bit of progress, mainly in the field of adding additional weight. For the weighted lunges, again, I have that little asterisk there because it's 40 pounds, so 20 in each arm, and then 10 on each leg. In the previous week, I did 5 on each leg, so I increased the amount of repetitions here. Food, so switched up an omelet to some fried eggs. One of the things I noticed as I was looking back over this past month is I'm really not eating enough fruit. I'm eating plenty of vegetables, I'm eating plenty of protein, but not a lot of fruit. The only time I really had fruit was the dried fruit I would have for breakfast. So I made a conscious effort this week to increase the amount of fruit I ate. So along with the eggs, I had some assorted fruits, some strawberries, some pineapple, some plums, banana. In addition, since I was still getting over that cold a little bit, I added a lot of honey into everything. So my oatmeal had some honey. I had some tea that had some honey in it, all those type of things. Lunch, you can see there, pretty healthy. Stir fried noodles, not the healthiest food, but did have some mushrooms and some mixed vegetables and topped it off with a salad and a V8. Dinner, they had some type of enchilada, some chicken enchilada, loaded up a bunch of cheese on it because love that cheese sauce. Some more mixed vegetables, some more mushrooms, and then some southwestern quinoa, and then a V8. I did have a little bit of dessert at the end with an ice cream sandwich at the end of the day, uh, which again, you need to make sure you balance the fatty foods, the tasty foods, something to keep yourself going, especially when you do this alternate day fasting. Day 3 was the row machine, followed by the jump rope. So changed it up last week where I went from 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes to 2.5 minutes jumping and resting to 3 minutes. Yeah, it should be 3 minutes jumping, 1 minute resting. So continued that from the previous week. Day 4 or day 3, again, because that was a cardio day, means no eating. So just lots of water, lemon water, coffee, and started taking those Propel electrolyte mixes, 0 calories, zero sugar, just to keep the electrolytes up since I'm not getting any food. Day 4 was a strength training day again. So you can see here, start seeing a bit of an uptick in some of the exercises here. So have where I really made the changes was I increased the total number of sets. I went from 3 to 4 sets for a lot of these. In addition, for squats, I upped the weight in general from 65 to 85. Did 2 sets like that, felt really good. So I decided I wanted to do an additional set with just some more weight. So that's why you see that additional set of 95 for the squats. Bench, the reason that one there is underlined is I'm trying up the format here. So anytime I've really pushed myself to failure and can't do another one, that's where I'll highlight it with an underlined line. With that, I'm going to try to see if I can do that a lot more. You'll see that throughout the week where I'm pushing myself to failure to help increase that muscle growth. And then, of course, hammer curls and cross body curls. Overall, still seeing some progress, a little bit flat compared to last week in some of the areas, but definitely making progress. So back to my omelet for breakfast, loading up that oatmeal with some honey and some dried fruit, but also getting some fresh fruit in there with the strawberries and the bananas. Lunch, we had chicken wings for lunch, so couldn't really pass that up. But I did kind of offset it with some spinach and some salad. They had a little bit of cake there for dessert, so I decided to grab that for dessert for lunch instead of for dinner, along with some milk to get some dairy. And then for dinner, switch back to something more healthy, some grilled fish, some seasoned rice, peas, V8, that type of stuff. Day 5 was another cardio day. So this is the one on the bike. So I had a little bit of a decline here for the steps. In the past, I thought I kept myself at level 3. I went to level 3 again this time. In actuality, last week I bumped it up to level 4. So that's why you see a little bit of dip in the number of floors. On the bike, I was able to slightly increase the mileage, so pedaled slightly faster for the same amount of time. Again, a lot of water. Other than that, just coffee, lemon water, some electrolytes throughout the day. Day 6, the final strength training day here. And this is powerlifting. So as you can see on the chart, made progress almost every location. And for all 3 of the different exercises, my final set in there was taking the failure. Even with the bench press, I dropped the weight back a little bit, but I did it to the point where I couldn't do anymore for that last set. But in general, overall, the amount being lifted was increased, whether that was increasing the number of reps or increasing the amount of weight. And then for food for the final day or for final lifting day, it's more fried eggs, getting some more of that fresh fruit, bananas, apples, oatmeal with the honey, the Greek yogurt, again, throwing a little bit of honey, some granola, some raisins in there. Lunch had some grilled fish and a lot of salad, some cauliflower, a lot of vegetables in that one. Even the salad, though, I did try to load up with protein with some turkey and some hard-boiled eggs thrown in there. And then dinner, switched over to some grilled chicken, broccoli. They had a bit of a stir fry, so some chicken and broccoli. So I added some of that, another V8, and then topped it off with some donut and milk for dessert. Throughout the entire week on the lifting days, in between breakfast and lunch, and between lunch and dinner, try to throw in some of those protein bars just to keep the protein flowing. And then finally, day 7, every week, the first exercise of the week and the last exercise of the week is the same. It was another 1.5 mile run. Saturday, I was able to re-improve back to about where I was on week 3. I'd like to get closer to that 11-minute 1.5 mile goal, but still got a long way to go for that. All right. And with that, it was a fasting day, so not a lot of food there, no food at all. Wasn't really hungry still, but made sure I had that coffee, green tea, salted water, lemon water, those type of things to keep the electrolytes going. All right. So that covers everything that happened throughout the week. So the only thing left is to do the reveal. So as always, if I have any viewers out there that are watching this, either as this is coming out or some point down the line, I encourage you to throw something in the comments because it does help the algorithm, especially with someone like me trying to grow the channel. throw something in there, talk about what you think. Do you think the sickness impacted me and I didn't see any gains? Do you think it impacted me? I lost extra weight because of being sick. Do you think I was consistent with what I did in the previous week? Throw it in comment what you think your prediction is for my results for weight loss and my waist measurement. And with that, we'll go ahead and do the reveal. All right. So overall, about 176 here is what I'm showing for the weight. Actually, I think that's supposed to be 174 because I dropped a little bit from last week, which puts me about 10.2 overall, 10.2 pounds lower than when I started. Waist is at 40 inches now, so it's about a half inch down from the last measurement, 1 inch down total. I think there's a little bit of visual difference that's noticeable, especially on the side profile. The gut doesn't seem like it sticks out as much, but still got a long way to go. A lot of flab there that I'm still trying to get rid of, but it's a long journey and I'm making steps. All right, so with that, that's really all I have at this time. So again, encourage you later to watch the live stream, share it with your friends, come in and ask me any questions for some candid responses. All right, with that, that's all I've got.